What time is it, doggies? What time is it, Jamo? What time is it, babe? Yeah, you guys know, right? You know, you good boy. It's Womanless Nerd Out time! That's what they said in doggy language, telepathically, if you couldn't hear them in your head. Happy Womanless Nerd Out time, you guys. Johnny, what's up, baby? Right on. Gino, how you doing? And Haley, thank you guys for tuning in. So, we're going to be talking more about niacin today and kind of what could go wrong. You know, we don't like to talk about really much negative stuff, but it is a necessary thing to talk about here, as if you have too much, there are some negative implications clinically, physiologically, and some adverse side effects that you could have, and some are more serious than others, right, depending on the dosage, and we'll talk all about that, and certain diseases that can promote having that niacin deficiency and where you need a little bit more than the average person. Now, aside from all that, we're talking about Nick Esposito. Nicky, happy birthday, bro. I hope you're enjoying it. I put a rugby ball on a surfboard next to your name because I think you surf. You seem really chill, like you would surf. So I feel like we've talked about that before at Long Island Rugby, represent. And, hey, take it easy, all right? I know you guys are excited. They're excited for you, Nick. You see that? But, and for When Wellness Nerd Out time, of course, per usual. But I hope you have an absolutely great day, man. I hope you had a great day and a fantastic night. It's a little bit late here, but, happy birthday. As long as we got you before 12 a.m. on the next day, we got it in. And we'll talk about him more at the end. But as for now, let's talk about niacin. Get into our discussion for the day. So, when we talk about some things that could go wrong with niacin, well, let's kind of first start at what niacin is synthesized from majorly. And we said, well, wait, what do you mean it's synthesized from? You said it's an essential vitamin that we need to get from the diet. Well, it is. Now, it's the reason being its precursor is an essential amino acid. And that precursor in particular is L-tryptophan, baby. And if you were with us in our previous discussions, we've had so many here at When Wellness and workouts. We've said how tryptophan is a precursor for both serotonin and melatonin. But another thing that tryptophan is a precursor for, again, is niacin, aka vitamin B3 or nicotinic acid, right? So, all right. So if niacin is formed from tryptophan, well, that means if we're not getting, again, this essential amino acid tryptophan, or L-tryptophan, you can say, that we need to get from the diet, if we're not getting enough of it, well, we might have a niacin deficiency, right? And so, what are some conditions in themselves that can cause niacin deficiency, maybe malabsorption of tryptophan, or niacin itself, or anything for that matter, right? So, let's start with anything that would, as a general idea that makes sense here, anything that would, come with malabsorption, any disease where you'd have malabsorptive issues, or you would have chronic inflammation in the body, right? Things like that, where we're not able to absorb our vitamins, we're not able to absorb our amino acids, right? Including tryptophan, and so we couldn't synthesize enough. And one example there's a ton, but we'll talk about a few. One example is Crohn's disease. And if you're familiar with Crohn's disease, well, if you're not or if you are, it's a chronic inflammatory bowel disease. And with Crohn's, you get things like ulcers as well, and fistulae, which is just plural for fistula, which are abnormal passages that are created through two anatomical structures, like, say, blood vessels in an organ, or a blood vessel in an organ, or some other anatomical structure, right? But that's just a fun fact. We don't mention something without explaining it here at When Wellness, right? Won't leave you hanging. And so, that's kind of what comes with Crohn's disease, and this usually happens specifically in that right lower quadrant where the ileum meets the colon, all right? So you get those lower right quadrant symptoms with Crohn's. Now, how it's relevant to niacin deficiency? Well, if you get this chronic inflammation and again, it being called chronic inflammatory bowel disease, right? You get that inflammation chronically in the GI tract where you can't absorb your nutrients as well. And if you can't absorb things like niacin or tryptophan. This could lead to a deficiency, and so this patient demographic would need to supplement with a little bit more or much more than the average person, right? Because the average person, again, if, we didn't, say it enough yesterday, well, the average person gets plenty of niacin from the diet, right? Just about. And we talked about niacin-rich foods yesterday, or B3 rich foods, yesterday. So, usually in terms of supplementation, it's on that lower range of milligrams. We talked about the daily values ranging from 14 to 18 milligrams, depending on the patient demographic. We'll reiterate them again at the end. But again, food first, people, before supplementation, right? Even when getting your vitamins, all right? And especially, honestly. So aside from Crohn's disease or other inflammatory bowel diseases, what else do we got? Well, there's a disease called Hartnupp's disease, which, maybe you've never heard of, maybe you have. But in Hartnupp's, the issue is that we can't absorb amino acids in particular. And so if we... Skim, what's up, baby? I just saw you out there. I'll catch the rest of you in a second. I just saw him pop up real quick. Love you, baby. Good to see you on here. Thanks for hopping on. So in Hartnupp's disease, if we cannot absorb amino acids properly or well enough, right? Well, one of those are what? One of those are tryptophan. And that's a precursor to niacin. So if we cannot get sufficient amounts of tryptophan through absorption, once again, the theme is common here, right? Well, just with different diseases, it's a lot of the same going on. You're not getting enough, you're not synthesizing enough niacin, could lead to deficiency. This demographic might need more. Now with Hartnupp's, niacin that is, they might need more niacin, of course. Now with Hartnupp's disease, this is almost one of the last things you're worried about. You're worried about it, but, if you're not absorbing amino acids, at least well, you've severe malabsorption of amino acids. Well, what are amino acids the precursors to? Proteins. Proteins have a wide range of functions throughout the body. Don't just think of them in muscle building. What are the vast majority of enzymes comprised of? Right? They have protein components. They're proteins, right? So, you could see what kind of metabolic implications this would have in general, somebody with Hartnupp's. And, so the reason I mention this is because I don't want to say that it's just related to niacin deficiency. There's a whole big clinical picture here. We're just talking about the relevant portion for our discussion today on what can go wrong if you don't have enough niacin, or if you can't absorb it, or if you have too much, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. So Hartnupp's is another example of a disease where you could have that severe niacin deficiency and would need to supplement with extra, right? Or supplements that better promote the absorption of things, like estrogen and actogen, which we've talked about, that promote the absorption of other vitamins and nutrients. So, fun fact, wasn't even thinking about that before, but that is true. Good thing to supplement with if you have malabsorptive issues, right? So, on top of that, what do we got? HIV, cancer, and patients with kidney issues, kidney dialysis patients, right? That, I'm sure clinically, this is related in the sense that, maybe if you're a dialysis patient, that the reabsorption of niacin would be affected, right? And so you could see how you would need more niacin if you had those diseases, conditions as well. Now, something else that could go wrong when we talk about niacin is supplementation, is a very interesting thing. So many case studies show a lot of people that are taking urine tests to load up on the niacin before. They load up on B3 and they think, this will help them pass it. Don't do that, ever. And for a urine test or for anybody, you don't need all that. All right, and we'll talk about how much can give you these severe adverse side effects. But geez, man, you're trying to pass a urine test. One, just live a clean lifestyle. Two, if you haven't, and I don't know, figure something else out. But don't take a lot of niacin. This could have severe, deleterious, adverse side effects, reactions, and things as serious as organ failure. So you try to pass a urine test, and now you got organ failure. Was it worth it? Of course not. So don't go doing that either, people. I don't care what sport you play, what job you're trying to get, anything like that. So when we talk about, since we mentioned this organ failure. Let's get right into our dosage. So, we talked about the daily values, the RDAs, or recommended dietary allowance of niacin yesterday. And we'll go through the demographics again here in a second. But to continue with our discussion on what can go wrong, well, if you were to have, say, 500 milligrams of niacin in a day or more, which is a lot more than that RDA, right? Then, which ranges again from 14 to 18 milligrams, right, in a day. We're talking 500. Then, you could get things like diarrhea, increased bleeding from wounds, and easy bruising. So, those aren't great. They're not life-threatening per se. I mean, it could be, in some way. But when you get up to that 3-gram range of niacin, that's where this is the relevance of people who were talking about like trying to pass the drug test. 3 grams, you can get diarrhea. Diarrhea is with 500, you would still have diarrhea. But worse than that is nausea, vomiting, and the worst, potential organ failure. So you never say never, but we're going to say it right now. Definitely never have 3 grams or more of niacin, right? You just don't need that much. Again, you get all of what you need from the diet. And, when we talk about supplementation on top of the diet, now let's get into, or reiterate, I should say, the associated dosages and recommended dietary allowances with different demographics. And I say reiterated because we discussed this yesterday at Wet Wellness, right? So if you are a male who's 19 years of age or older, you're looking at about 16 milligrams a day being that RDA. If you're a female in the same age range, that is above 18 years of age, again, or 19 years of age or older, same, then you're looking at 14 milligrams a day. If you are a pregnant woman, they need the most, and it's still only 18 milligrams a day. So, all these negative effects we were talking about, 500 or 3 grams, that's 3,000 milligrams. I mean, it's just like way past the RDA, you don't be going there, people. It'd be stupid, all right? Albeit, interestingly enough, I think it's actually Nootropics Expert, which is a great source to get the nootropic benefits, and these could be related to enhanced cognition, improved growth, increased longevity, right? The role that NAD, which is formed from niacin, NAD plays in cellular respiration, in energy metabolism, right? The efficiency of energy metabolism being maintained throughout your life and over time. Something that, when there is a lack thereof or there are defects in that cellular metabolism can contribute to aging, right? So that's one reason it promotes longevity, they say, right? Nootropics Expert, I think they recommend it up to 500 milligrams. So, that's, again, at 500, you're looking at, diarrhea, things that are not nearly as serious. Increased bleeding from wounds, that's serious, but if it's sealed, it's not, but when you talk about the organ failure, again, that's 3 grams. So, that's something you should never even consider going near with niacin supplementation. Last demographic we didn't talk about are lactating women, and that is 17 milligrams a day for them. All right. So if you're part of any of those demographics, now you know what you need for a day of niacin, and you get most through the diet. All right. So you really don't need much. Who do we got? Johnny, we said what's up. We said what's up to Gino and Haley. They know. Josh Spitz, it's What Will This Nerd Out time. What's up, buddy? Hey, thank you, Johnny. God bless you, and good night, brother. Love you. Gotta go. Josh, I'll see you later, bro. Evolution, my man, thanks for hopping in. Dominique, what's up, girl? I hope I see you soon. You should come to my party I'm having on the 25th, and now that everybody on here knows about, but it's going to be a good time, yeah. I'm turning 30, so cool. 30. Feel great, honestly. Skim, what's up? We said hi to you. And Nasara Diaclash, hey, thank you for tuning in. And Melody, hey, thank you for hopping on, you guys. I hope you got a lot out of it. Before we go though, let's talk about Nicky Esposito. Happy birthday, dog. Hey, man, you are a really cool dude. You're so laid back, you're so chill, and you're a great brother, honestly. Nicky, I mean, even if Nicky didn't hit the gym for like months, and I'm not saying that you do that, but he would be great. He's just a gamer. He gets out there and he always performs, and he's just a cool dude that has great things to say. And you know, man, you got a good heart, and I'm thankful to have you in my life. I hope I see you at the party. I hope I see you soon. Got to reach out to you, and you know, we haven't talked in a bit, but no, 100% regardless, absolutely, this one is totally for you, my friend. So again, happy birthday. I hope it was as great as you are, my brother. And Sugar with Mercy, thank you for hopping on at the bell. Have a great rest of your night. Happy When Wellness. We'll see you tomorrow, baby. Say hi to JMO. And by hi, I mean bye. Later.